Meeting of the Board of Chosen Freeholders. Mr. Clerk, please read the roll call.
Freeholder Bergen.
Here.
Freeholder Carter.
Here.
Freeholder Estrada.
Here. Present.
Freeholder Granados.
Present.
Freeholder Kowalski.
Here.
Freeholder Mirabella.
Present.
Freeholder Wright.
Present.
Vice Chairman Jallo.
Here.
And Chairman Hudak.
Present.
Chairman, you have 9 freeholders present.
Okay, Mr. Clerk, please lead us in the prayer and the salute to the flag.
Humbly we ask God, the giver of peace and the lover of charity, to give the entire family of nations true agreement with his will, and to grant the light of his spirit on all who work for justice and peace. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Jim, please read the statement of compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act.
Chair wishes to announce that pursuant to requirements of New Jersey statutes annotated, Title 10, Chapter 4, Section 10 of the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting of the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Union has been given by mailing the annual meeting schedule for the year 2014, along with periodic changes necessitated by circumstances, to the newspapers circulating within the County of Union who are designated to receive such notice, and by posting the annual meeting schedule for the year 2014 in the Administration Building, and further by filing the annual meeting schedule for the year 2014 with the Office of the County Clerk.
Thank you very much. First, we have a presentation this evening, and I would like to ask Freeholder Bergen to come down to do a presentation from United Way, and also Freeholder Granados and Wright will join him as well. The right side of the dais, basically.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to call up representatives of the United Way of Union County. Tonight we have with us President Jim Horn and 2014 Fund Development Chair Joe Steiner. Welcome. Thank you. Representing the United Way of Union County, and we do have a resolution, and I'm not going to read the whole thing, but just the important parts. United Way of Greater Union County mobilizes thousands of volunteers dedicated to improving lives in the Union County communities. Union County citizens gave $3.5 million to the United Way in their 2013-2014 campaign, investing in programs and services to help address their community's most critical issues. These programs help children and youth succeed, strengthen and support families, promote self-sufficiency, build safe neighborhoods, and support vulnerable and aging populations. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Union that we hereby declare the month of October as United Way Month here in the County of Union. And I've said this before, it's impossible for government to do everything that needs to be done for the population on its own. And its partners and organizations like the United Way of Union County that make Union County such a great place to live and work. By working with the governments and the organizations together, we can give our population what they need. We greatly appreciate what you do for the citizens of Union County and congratulate you and hope that you have another very successful campaign this year.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations, and we're very proud of what you do for Union County, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
I attended Mr. Horn's event, United Way event, 2 weeks ago, and it was great to see children and adults coming together for the betterment of our community. They had dance performances, and it was all about giving back, and that's what United Way has always been about and always make sure they are about. So, James Horn, we appreciate all your service to our county. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I just want to say on behalf of the United Way, first I'd like to acknowledge my campaign chair, Joe Steiner. We also have another 1 or 2 board members in the room, your treasurer, Ms. P.B. Taylor, as well as Frank Guzzo, the Director of Human Services, also serve on the United Way board. And we've had a lot of great interaction with all of the freeholder boards. And for us, it's really our time to try to see if we can drive our community to raise more money to help more people. We've identified some local communities, some local problems here in Union County. And as we've talked about today, we work closely with those local towns, Hillside, Linden, Union, Rahway, Elizabeth, really where we understand how we can really work with the nonprofits and government to make a difference. This is our time to raise those critical funds. Our goal this year is $3.7 million, and we're asking everyone under the sound of the voice that if you can help us, please do so. We do need your support this year. And again, I want to thank the Freeholder Board for acknowledging us with the citation this year. We really do appreciate the proclamation. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're going to move into our agenda now, and we have the approval of communications. May I have a motion to approve communications? Motion was made by Freeholder Kowalski and seconded by Freeholder Estrada. Mr. Clerk, read the roll.
Freeholder Bergen.
Yes.
Freeholder Carter.
Yes.
Freeholder Estrada.
Yes.
Freeholder Granados.
Yes.
Freeholder Kowalski.
Yes.
Freeholder Mirabella.
Aye.
Freeholder Wright.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Jallo.
Aye.
And Chairman Hudak.
Aye.
Chairman, you have 9 votes in the affirmative.
Now we will move in for an ordinance for adoption. Mr. Clerk, please read the ordinance by title.
Ordinance for adoption, number 760-2014. Bond ordinance to amend the following bond ordinances previously adopted by the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Union, State of New Jersey. 1. Bond ordinance number 377-1993, adopted on June 17, 1993, as previously amended by bond ordinance number 440-1997, adopted on March 6, 1997, and bond ordinance number 486-1998, adopted on December 10, 1998. 2. Bond ordinance number 455-1997, adopted on October 16, 1997. 3. Bond ordinance number 480-1998, adopted on July 23, 1998, as previously amended by the following 3 ordinances. Bond ordinance number 574-2003, adopted on April 24, 2003. Bond ordinance number 630-2006, adopted on July 20, 2006. And bond ordinance number 674-2008, adopted on December 4, 2008. 4. Bond ordinance number 518-2000, adopted on December 14, 2000. 5. Bond ordinance number 536-2001, adopted on August 28, 2001, as previously amended by the following 6 ordinances. Bond ordinance number 543-2001, adopted on December 13, 2001. Bond ordinance number 547-2002, adopted on February 28, 2002. Bond ordinance number 556-2002, adopted on September 5, 2002. Bond ordinance number 564-2003, adopted on February 13, 2003. Bond ordinance number 575-2003, adopted on April 24, 2003. And bond ordinance number 719-2011, adopted on March 31, 2011. 6, bond ordinance number 555-2002, adopted on August 22nd, 2002. 7, bond ordinance number 578, 2003, adopted on August 21st, 2003, as previously amended by bond ordinance number 708-2010, adopted on June 10th, 2010. 8, bond ordinance number 601-2004, adopted on August 19th, 2004, as previously amended by bond ordinance number 708-2010, adopted on June 10th, 2010, and bond ordinance number 730-2012, adopted on March 22nd, 2012. 9, bond ordinance number 616-2005, adopted on August 18th, 2005, as previously amended by bond ordinance number 708-2010, adopted on June 10th, 2010, and bond ordinance number 730-2012, adopted on March 22nd, 2012. 10, bond ordinance number 632-2006, adopted on August 17th, 2006, as previously amended by the following three ordinances. Bond ordinance number 673-2008, adopted on December 4th, 2008. Bond ordinance number 708-2010, adopted on June 10th, 2010. And bond ordinance number 730-2012, adopted on March 22nd, 2012. 11, bond ordinance number 653-2007, adopted on September 6, 2007, as previously amended by the following three ordinances. Bond ordinance number 708-2010, adopted on June 10th, 2010. Bond ordinance number 714-2010, adopted on December 8th, 2010. And bond ordinance number 730-2012, adopted on March 22nd, 2012. 12, bond ordinance number 665-2008, adopted on March 13th, 2008. 13, bond ordinance number 670-2008, adopted on July 24th, 2008. 14, bond ordinance number 671-2008, adopted on October 9th, 2008, as previously amended by the following three ordinances. Bond ordinance number 714-2010, adopted on December 8th, 2010. Bond ordinance number 730-2012, adopted on March 22nd, 2012. And bond ordinance number 741-2012, adopted on September 13th, 2012. 15, bond ordinance number 687-2009, adopted on July 30th, 2009, as previously amended by the following four ordinances. Bond ordinance number 669-2010, adopted on February 11th, 2010. Bond ordinance number 703-2010, adopted on May 13th, 2010. Bond ordinance number 714-2010, adopted on December 8th, 2010. And bond ordinance number 741-2012, adopted on September 13th, 2012. 16, bond ordinance number 713-2010, adopted on December 8th, 2010. 17, bond ordinance number 723-2011, adopted on August 25th, 2011, as previously amended by bond ordinance number 741-2012, adopted on September 13th, 2012. 18, bond ordinance number 740-2012, adopted on September 13th, 2012. And 19, bond ordinance number 752-2013, adopted on August 22nd, 2013.
Personal best.
I think so.
Okay. Prior to opening the meeting to public comments on this ordinance, I'd like to ask our Director of Finance, B.B. Taylor, to make a brief statement regarding tonight's ordinance, and give a bit of an explanation for the public.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Bond Ordinance 2014-760 amends previously adopted bond ordinances to expand the description to accommodate projects and/or acquisitions not considered at the time of adoption of the original bond ordinance. It's important to note that no additional debt is authorized as a result of adopting this ordinance. The ordinance does not obligate the county to spend monies. However, the ordinance does provide the authorization to spend monies should the county wish to pursue projects as described in the amending ordinance. Should the county ever wish to cancel the projects and/or a resolution is required in order to cancel those unspent balances. Again, this ordinance is purely to repurpose, expand the description. No new debt is authorized.
Thank you, Director Taylor. At this point, I would like to open up the meeting for public comment in reference only to ordinance number 760, 2014. Please state your name and town of residence for the record and adhere to the 5-minute time limit.
Good evening, Chairman Hudak, ladies and gentlemen of the Freeholder Board, Bruce Patterson, Garwood. I'm not going to ask you what each one of these bonds are for, by the way. But I was here the last meeting, and I was here this meeting, and I heard Director Taylor's comments, and it's interesting. I don't recall her saying it last week, but she's saying it's whatever monies, I guess these are being canceled, and whatever monies are being left over is to expand various projects that were not considered in the past. Over the past years, even going back to Director Caroselli, there was a couple of rounds of this digging into these old bonds and canceling the balances. And each one of those times, and Director Taylor also had done one of the rounds. Each time, the monies that were found in all these bonds, going back, and these are, again, it's going back to 1993, I don't know. Anyway, each time that these monies are actually found and then put into the operating budget to offset, hopefully, the taxes, which, you know, I get excited when I hear about taxes being offset. But here in this case, all these bonds are being condensed, and whatever money is being wrung out of them and is put to projects not previously considered. I, as part of the public, would like you to explain exactly what that means, what money has been condensed out of all these bonds, and what projects is this money now going to that the projects were not previously considered, and why? And here, if you're writing down questions, why are we still finding bonds going back to 1993? Because, like I said, there was a couple of previous flights where they condensed a lot of bonds and took the money and put it into the operating budget. Why are we going back to 1993? It seems like we should have cleaned those loose ends up through not only Caroselli, but through Bibby Taylor, and yet you're still finding more. Does that mean there's actually more bonds that you're going to be wringing out money? Another question. Yeah, no cost to county. I guess they are just canceling the bonds. I guess I'd like to hear why it is no cost to the county, which again, I'm excited about. Hopefully you got all those questions. This is a very complex ordinance, and I'd like to hear these answers. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Director Taylor, would you take a stab at those inquiries?
Absolutely. Through you, Mr. Chairman. First and foremost, we are not canceling ordinances. We are repurposing bond ordinances. Specifically, for example, Ordinance 455-97, where it calls for various improvements to Wheeler Park and Rawway pools, the restoration of various lakes, and acquisition of a new additional or replacement equipment. Essentially, we're expanding that to coincide with the useful life to include for various engineering, architectural, and other services in connection with the park improvements. So while the actual hard improvements were authorized, we are now authorizing any soft costs that may be applicable to that ordinance itself. Again, these are capital ordinances stay in perpetuity until the ordinance is used in full. We can either cancel it if the bond is either funded or unfunded. It depends on the impact. At no time do capital funds go into the operating budget.
So that was an incorrect characterization.
That is correct. And and I do need to clarify, it doesn't apply to the operating budget. We can anticipate any cancellations that are funded to apply to anticipated revenue, but that has to go directly to offset debt service. So it does not go to operating funds. It goes to debt service if, in fact, those bond ordinances are canceled.
Okay. Any other members of the public wishing to speak on ordinance 760-2014? Seeing no one else, I will close that portion of the meeting, and I would ask that Freeholder Jallo.
Yes, I'll move ordinance number 760-2014 for final reading and authorize the clerk of the board to advertise same in accordance with law. Second.
Motion was made by the vice chairman and seconded by Freeholder Kowalski. Mr. Clerk, kindly read the roll call.
Freeholder Bergen.
Yes.
Freeholder Carter.
Yes.
Freeholder Estrada.
Yes.
Freeholder Granados.
Yes.
Freeholder Kowalski.
Yes.
Freeholder Mirabella.
Aye.
Freeholder Wright.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Jallo.
Aye.
And Chairman Hudak.
Aye.
Chairman, you have 9 votes in the affirmative.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. At this point of the meeting, we will open for public comment for the purposes of commenting on resolutions being offered for adoption only. Kindly state your name and town of residence for the record and the resolution to which you are referring. There is a 5-minute time limit, and we are open for that now.
Good evening. Pat Moschetti, New Providence. Resolution 2014-796. We're increasing operational funding for the golf course for another $600,000. I was just asking what the purpose of that additional funding, a large amount that's ending in about 20 days. Resolution 2014-802 on page 4. We're talking about extending its services through December 31st, but it doesn't say when it's extending from January 1st, from June 1st, from today. We need to know when it starts and when it ends. It doesn't say that on that resolution. Resolution 2014-815 on page 5. This is involved with invoices and activities and payments of telecommunications bills with Verizon. A new sum not to exceed $1 million. So my question is, when numbers get this large, is there a person or a group of people in Union County government who have this responsibility on a regular basis to look into these large sums of telecommunication bills? And the reason I'm asking is New York City years ago did a study of its operations, and 5 years into Mayor Bloomberg's reign, they told him they had 8,000 empty seats in their buildings that they were paying rent for. And by the way, there was a telephone on each of those 8,000 desks that they were being charged for month after month. And he said, well, it's only 5 years into my program, so we'll get around to it. Well, that's just wasting money. So I'm just asking, what does Union County do? Do we have some people on this on a regular basis, which means weekly, monthly, to see that we're spending the money properly and not the other way? And one other, 2014-829, page 7. This is in regard to giving the county manager the ability to sign documents, a collective bargaining agreement with Local 68 operating engineers, effective almost 2 years ago through the end of 2015. Can you please tell us what the major terms are of this agreement, such as pay change per year, health care concessions, or anything else that would be significant that the county residents should be aware of? Thank you.
796, Director Sanchez, do you want to come up and talk about golf?
Chairman, if I may,
Oh, sure.
in conjunction with 796, during the agenda meeting, there was a resolution that was going to be on for consideration relative to a contract with Kemper for golf operations. There's still a few minor legal details that have to be worked out, so that resolution was pulled, but it will be back on for next week.
Thank you very much, County Manager. Director Sanchez, can you please continue?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, on 796, we are not increasing the operational budget for the year. And on the golf courses, all we're doing is moving funds from November and December, which would be in the new contract, into the existing contract. So revenues that were basically earned throughout the year, and those bills, expenses that were accumulated, can be paid before the end of the current contract.
Thank you.
Well,
802, County Council, do you want to address the date issue?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. The original contract was awarded through December 31st, and just the way it was drafted, that Actually, it's not the contract being extended, it's the additional amount of not to exceed 22,000 to bring it to a total of 70. So the original award was for that term.
Thank you, County Council. Norm Albert, would you mind coming up to discuss the Verizon Resolution 815? And while you're up there, you can swing right over to 829.
Okay, thank you, Chairman. Through you, the short answer to the question is yes, there are people watching telecommunication bills. In 2012 and 2013, we spent $1,430,000 with Verizon. We are transitioning away from Verizon to two new vendors on state contract. Verizon is no longer on state contract, and the resultant savings we estimate to be about $230,000 this year, and we're hoping for more next year. That transition, that migration to the new companies is occurring as we speak. We're working diligently on it, the IT department, and we anticipate better savings in 2015. 829, collective bargaining agreement, settlement, same terms as we've discussed before, acceptance of the healthcare changes, and I'm not sure what else was questioned about that.
I guess those agreements are consistent with the other.
They are. Yes, they are.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Any other members of the public wishing to comment on resolutions being offered for adoption only?
Good evening, Chairman Hudak, Vice Chair Jalal, freeholders.
Ma'am, can you kindly state your name?
Excuse me?
Your name and town of residence, please.
Linda Flores Tober, and I live in Elizabeth, New Jersey.
Thank you, ma'am.
And County Manager. County Manager. My name is Linda Flores Tober, and I am the Executive Director of the Elizabeth Coalition to House the Homeless and the Chairperson of the Union County CEASE Committee. I'm speaking on behalf of both the Coalition and CEASE, a committee that consists of all the providers of services to the homeless and Union County nearly 50 agencies. I would like to comment on resolution number 2014-799, the Code Blue Initiative. In the winter of 2003-2004, we had 82 straight nights of Code Blue. Temperatures below 25 degrees or 32 of precipitating. 10 years later, in the winter of 2013-2014, the term polar vortex became the new word in our weather vocabularies, and we again had approximately 80 Code Blue nights. Colder, more extreme weather is now the new normal. Also normal are more and more of the working poor unable to afford rent, becoming homeless. This September, we at the Coalition saw more than 400 homeless and near homeless in our offices looking for help. Many have no access to the shelter system, and there are few, if any, other options. Given these two facts, Code Blue is more than a nice program that gets the homeless off the streets on cold nights. It's a life-saving option for the working poor, those locked out of assistance when they are re-entering from correction systems, the mentally ill who struggle to get help, and those who have no options in the public assistance system. Every night, Code Blue is saving nights. You are saving lives. On behalf of the CEASE, the Elizabeth Coalition, and for those lives you touch but may never know, thank you for continuing this program.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other members of the public wishing to speak on resolutions being offered for adoption?
Good evening, Chairman Hudak, ladies and gentlemen. The Freeholder Board, Bruce, Patterson, Garwood. On page 3, number 796, that's back to the operational funding for the golf course, about the $600,000. Again, I was here last week, and I'm here again, and Armando Sanchez, the director, spoke. I still don't understand what he's saying. He was talking about $800,000 of revenues that over and above what were anticipated. That was last week. So So I'm trying to figure out what is he doing. The $600,000 obviously is moving into this year from next year. So I mean, I really would like to have a little more clarity on that. Plus that money, where exactly is that going? To what entity is that going? Page 4, number 803 to 807. Freeholder Marabella. This is modifying the budget to the tune of $2.1 million. Normally, either myself or Freeholder Marabella. It does ask this question, but is this just a pass-through? This is increasing the budget. Is it offsetting taxes at all? You know, is it a pass-through? What is the budget right now, including that $2.1 million? Page 5, number 815. That's the one where there's an increase of $200,000 for, I guess it's Verizon, for the expenditures of communications. About 2-3 years ago, one of your employees, Kathy Bellagio, undertook a study, and I think she actually wrung out about $400,000 or $500,000 in savings in telecommunications costs. Here we are now, we're turning around and we're actually giving $200,000 back. Something doesn't make sense here. Well, why are we spending more $200,000 when there's supposed to be savings? Especially when somebody said that, that was Norm Albert, said that this year we're actually saving $230,000, yet we're spending $200,000. Page 6, right in the middle, number 820. It's a contract going to Alamo for whatever, replacement of culverts. There's some money, $359,000. I just want to point out that Alamo, of course, is a political donor to you guys and your cronies. $13,000 in the last 4 years. Somehow it's all legit that you give him money and he donates to you. Page 7, number 827, National Fence Systems, a contract, 24-month contract, $244,000 for a national fence. That's telling me that's for fence, $244,000 for fencing. It seems to be a rental maybe, but I mean, that's a wow number. I'd really like to hear, why are we spending $244,000? Have we spent that same amount of money last year? If not, what is the number last year? Sounds like we're going to do it again. Page 7 at the bottom, number 829. This Mr. Moschetti asked, the response was so vague from Director Albert, accountability of health changes, big deal. Let's hear what the details are. The percentages increase for, I guess, 3 years or 5 years, whatever the contract is. And in particular, I'd really like to know, what are the health benefits afforded to these members now? I would like to hear what that is. Thank you very much.
Well, most of those questions were asking the same question that we already answered, but I know one was new, and that was Director Graziano. Want to tell us all about National Fence System?
Sure. Through you, Mr. Chairman. That's a publicly bid thing. We every year we go out for fencing work. This is for the parks and for public works. A lot of it's for the parks. $150,000 of this one is for the park system. That's either for repairing park fences that are currently damaged. It's for replacing fences. It's for putting up new fence. For example, we put up close to $100,000 worth of fence last year, which up on Mount View Road, which borders our quarry up in Springfield. We did that. We have to continue that this year. We have to finish that out. And then there's a bunch of other fence that were.
Is that new fence?
Excuse me?
That's new fencing, or is that replacement?
That was both. There was sections that had to be replaced new, and then some we were able to repair on that. And that was close to $100,000, I believe, on that repair. And we have to finish that fence all the way up to the top to secure that. So that's a big part of it. And just.
Are we still getting caught up from the Sandy damage?
Absolutely, yeah, we are. Absolutely, we are. Yeah.
That was fairly significant. Correct?
Yes, very much.
Thank you, Director.
You're welcome.
And in terms of 803 to 807, those are recipients, varying grants. Director Taylor's here, so if you have any questions regarding budget outside of those resolutions, you can direct them to her after the meeting. Any other members of the public wishing to speak on resolutions being offered for adoption?
Yeah, John Berry, Kenilworth. I wasn't going to speak because I expected Bruce Patterson's answer to 796 to be provided. But apparently we're going to get everything, apparently you're finished answering that. But it just looks like a bizarre resolution that seems, I mean, you're taking $600,000 from November and December revenue for the golf courses to this budget year. Now, considering this is in conjunction with Kemper probably getting the contract, is this going to, oh, well, you're not answering questions, so I'll just post it. It looks like something they just foisted on you so they can make an extra $600,000 and take it away from, because you're eventually going to have to pay the $600,000. If it's not this year, it's next year. Now, if you're not curious about getting any more answers, I can't help that. But I think it's probably something you should be.
Armando, why don't you come up one more time and give an explanation of that resolution?
It is an additional $800,000 that we have recognized in revenue throughout the year from January to October 31st. We're moving the money from the November and December, which is at the end of the contract or the new contract for Kemper. This $600,000 is moving into this current year, October 31st, the contract for Kemper. So those bills and expenses and salaries for that additional $800,000 in revenue can be paid before the beginning of the new contract. Because at the beginning of the new contract, we will not be realizing and also not picking up the expense of the salaries and expenses for the food and beverage operations. So that's going to be a separate budget going forward.
Any other members of the public wishing to speak on resolutions being offered for adoption? Seeing no one else, I will close that portion of the meeting, and I will ask for a motion to approve resolutions 2014-795 to 849.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
The motion was made by Freeholder Mirabella and was seconded by Freeholder Carter. Mr. Clerk, kindly read the roll call.
Freeholder Bergen.
Abstain as to 2014-800, yes as to all remaining resolutions.
Freeholder Carter.
Yes.
Freeholder Estrada.
Yes and all.
Freeholder Granados.
Yes.
Freeholder Kowalski.
Yes.
Freeholder Mirabella. Freeholder Wright.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Jallo.
Aye.
And Chairman Huday.
Aye to all.
Chairman, you have 9 votes in the affirmative, with the exception of Resolution 2014-800. You have 8 votes in the affirmative with 1 abstention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Clerk. At this point, the meeting is open to the public for purposes of commenting on any matter. Kindly state your name and town of residence, and be advised there's a 5-minute timer.
Joe Kretsch, Linden, New Jersey. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the Freeholder Board. My name is Joe Kretsch. I am the president of PBA Local 199, representing Union County's correction officers. I think you would agree that Union County's corrections officers are truly committed to public safety in the county, but also perform a job that few in our communities would volunteer to do. We sometimes deal with the worst in our society, while at times setting an example we hope makes the county and the taxpayers proud. It has come to our attention that the county is possibly seeking partners to transfer our inmates to another county in order to close the jail as a cost savings measure. I would like to say a few words about that possibility. I would ask that if you are indeed moving forward in that direction, that you bring us into the discussion. I say this for 2 reasons. There are numerous logistical and public safety issues at stake that law enforcement professionals should be working with you to address. At the end of the day, public safety must come ahead of any perceived savings or budget deals. The risks and procedures involved in detaining, transporting, and security of the most dangerous among us can't be overlooked. I also plead with you that you keep in mind that closing the jail isn't just a question of math. There are hundreds of officers' lives, careers, and families on the line. Our officers have dedicated themselves to working inside a jail as a career. That commitment to Union County should not be cast aside. This is especially true for our younger officers who are starting families, or our older officers who have retirement in sight but are still too far away to make that a reality. I want to make it clear tonight to you that I'm committed to working closely with you on any cost savings within collective bargaining that we could achieve to accomplish your goal of finding savings in our budget without laying off any correction officers. There are real people who will be devastated financially and professionally if the jail is closed and suddenly left outside the deal looking in. I don't think you want that to happen, and I'm hopeful we can work together to prevent that from happening. Sharing services and closing institutions require time and careful study. I would respectfully ask that you not overlook the men and women of PBA Local 199 during that time of study. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, ladies and gentlemen of the Freeholder Board. My name is Patrick Colligan. I'm the state PBA president, representing 33,000 members of the New Jersey State PBA throughout the state of New Jersey. We represent the 300 brother and sister officers in the Union County Corrections Department. And I just wanted to address it just for a couple minutes. I'm not interested in giving anybody a democracy lesson here, because I'm sure as freeholders you know it well. But one of the hallmarks of our country is a free and open government, and it's unfortunate that the members of this union got word 2 years ago that the Freeholder Board was eventually going to close a hospital, and then after that close a jail. Well, I guess 50%. He's not Nostradamus, but he's 50% correct so far. And it's funny that everybody I've spoken to in the last several weeks that should know whether this jail is going to shut down has absolutely said it's going to shut down. And it's unfortunate that in a free and open democracy, there's nobody in the Freeholder Board that's willing to admit this. The officers filed an OPRA request. The OPRA request came back that there's no documents. They had a meeting today or the other day with Mr. Fiala, who told them that they've already discovered that there's 160 spots open in the State Department of Corrections. So somebody somewhere is not really telling the truth. Somebody somewhere is not being practicing open government, and we're very concerned about that. I don't have to tell the clerk that when an OPRA request comes back with no answers, and there is in fact something about a jail closure, that the person who denied the request or filled the request is held personally responsible. Like I said, everybody that should be in the know has told me that the jail is going to close, and I think his comments said it best. I just want to let you know about our PFRS system real quick. The officers that work at the jail, when you close a hospital, you're affecting janitors and nursing staff and doctors, and every one of them can assemble a resume and send it out and get picked up and continue in their career of public service. If you're a corrections officer and you have 10 or 12 or 15 years and you end up not having a job one day because somebody decides to close a jail, unfortunately that officer can't go to municipal police department because of our PFRS system doesn't allow them to. They can't go to municipal police department because it requires waiver training. So you're basically taking 300 officers and effectively putting them on the street. Are there openings at the Department of Corrections, as Mr. Fayola told them? Probably, possibly, but that's not going to take care of everybody at the jail. So just please remember what you're doing to the 300 Union County employees when they hit the street. Many will not be able to get into the same paying job. Many will not be able to make the transition. There's not many county corrections facilities that are hiring. Many are laying off. So I implore you to work with the men and women in the Union County Corrections Department. Help them keep this facility open. This is not a small facility, and I will tell you, again, representing 33,000 members, that you don't want prisoners being driven through 2 counties to get to your facility here. They walk over a covered bridge. They're escorted to the courthouse. I mean, this is you're exposing some tremendous public safety issues to the residents of Union County. So, thank you for your kind attention.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, Board of Freeholders. There's just something I would like to clear up. There was not a meeting with us and Mr. Fiala. We had spoken to Frank Guzzo a couple days ago in reference to the amount of bed space available in Hudson County. and he did in fact make it clear to us that there was 550 available beds in Hudson County. That's what was said.
Thank you, Joe. County Manager?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, Hudson and Union County are in preliminary talks relative to the possibility of expanding the number of Union County prisoners to be housed at the Hudson County Correctional Center. The discussion also includes the possibility of Hudson County sending juvenile detainees to Union County's juvenile detention facility. Once again, I would like to emphasize that these talks are still very preliminary. Nothing has been finalized, and no recommendation has been made to the Board of Chosen Freeholders. Thank you.
Thank you, Al. Yeah?
Good evening. Marie Soika Clark. I'm a councilwoman for the 3rd Ward. I'm here tonight to ask the freeholders about the proposed ball field that's going in Rollway Park. Most of the Clark residents, including our mayor and myself, only found out about it about 3 weeks ago. We understand that a 5,000-seat stadium is supposed to be put on the property in Rollway Park. Rollway Park is probably less than a mile wide, maybe a little bit more. To put a 5,000-seat stadium in this small park needs to be addressed, and I think the people in the town should have been notified about this project. I understand that Freeholder Hudak spoke about it in his January 1 address. I apologize, I did not read that. And I just found out about this project. I will tell you that the residents in my 3rd Ward are up in arms. They feel that they had no voice, no say, and no notification. And when I personally called our mayor and asked him if he knew about it, he said he wasn't familiar. Now, a project in Rollway Park that also abuts Clark and a good portion is in Clark. I really am curious to know why the Clark residents weren't notified, or at least the municipality. I have been in contact with Ms. Roundtree, the Rollway business administrator, who has been very kind and given me information. But again, the information that she provided me was basically a footprint. I have nothing else to show my residents and to assure them that what the county is doing is going to be for the betterment of all the towns in Clark. I'd also like to know the timeline for this particular stadium. Obviously, parking is an issue that will not go away. There are only 2 entrances into Rollway Park, one from St. George Avenue in Rollway, the other one from Valley Road in Clark. The parking as it exists right now cannot handle 5,000 cars. So if you would be kind enough to get me some information, I would truly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Just a few comments on Rollway River Park. A number of years ago, the Freeholder Board made a policy decision that when we would look to resurface a field, we would do so with an artificial surface playing field. They're more cost-effective than sod, they get more usage, and they are safer. Less broken bones, less sprains, less muscle and tendon tear. We have been replacing those fields with lighted turf fields because there is a tremendous demand for the field time. And I live less than a mile away from the park, walk my dogs through it quite often. That field is very, very busy. So we are in the process of upgrading fields throughout the county. We're just very close to the completion of a similar project at Warnaco Park with the similar track and the similar field. Where that project, it was part of the Freeholder initiative this year, and it's going to be going forward because that's what we're doing with those types of playing services. And we've done so throughout the county. In terms of the Rawway High School component, the mayor came to us last year, and as part of dealing with the problem that they've had in Rawway, which is flooding. There has been major floods in Rawway. Every time there's this big storm, Rawway floods. Their I believe it's Veterans Field, which is where their kids play. It is terribly inundated by rain, and you can actually go onto YouTube and you can find the video. Just put in Irene Veterans Field Rawway, and you'll see the water exceeding the goalposts of that particular field. It's a real problem in Rawway because of how the town is situated, and so the request was to add bleachers and restrooms and things of that nature to the field that we are going to build to that project. In terms of the size, I think 5,000 is a bit large, and I think this board is going to be committed to doing something that is aesthetically appropriate to that particular park, but also safe in terms of the size. And we will consult with engineers and our construction personnel, because it's ultimately our park. So we'll make sure that it's whatever is done ultimately in terms of the size of that project is appropriate to that facility. The municipality will cover any costs above what we would have spent on the project as we normally would have. But just in terms of parking and things like that, we have commitments from Rawway. They will work with our county police to make sure that on days where they have games, they'll work out parking solutions so that the neighborhood is not overburdened. But it's all very preliminary, which is what the original MOU was about that we approved last week, which was, again, this is a project that's going forward. We budgeted in our capital long ago, and I can tell you, just as a resident who lives right by that park, it needs the upgrade. And when we've upgraded these fields throughout the county, it's been tremendously popular. It's been tremendously well used. And we have worked with other municipalities, as we've done with Glenside Avenue in Summit, as we've done with Snyder in Berkeley Heights. We've worked with the municipalities of Linden, Union, and Elizabeth when we did the fields at Rizzuto, Wheeler, to make sure that local groups had the ability to really utilize those fields. And they're tremendously popular, and we're committed to continue doing that. We see that, and we see this as an extension. As the planning process goes forth, of course, we'll be in contact with the town of Clark. And my understanding, and I don't want to get between two mayors, the mayor of Rawway did express that he had spoken to Mayor Buonacorso, so I'm not quite sure where that is, and I'm not here to litigate that here tonight. So what I will tell you is this: we will keep you, Councilwoman, definitely abreast, so you can keep your residents abreast. But we're committed to a good project in that particular field to make sure it's a good, safe playing surface for kids. And if the kids in Rawway have a place that they can play their home games, that's a good thing too. But we want to make sure it's appropriate to that park, and that you have our commitment with. But we'll definitely make sure we keep you abreast as that develops. But that's what the MOU is about, so we can engage with Rawway. We can get our professionals in, because I'm not an engineer or an architect, and that's why we're bringing them in, so we can make sure that the project is appropriate to the park, but also meets a number of different needs that the community has, and Rawway has those needs as well. So I'm going to turn it back over to the public for comments. Thank you, Mayor. Anyone else wishing to comment?
Hi, I'm Kelly Tropiano from Clark also. My property, good evening, first of all. My property is adjacent to the park. My rear fence is on the park border. According to the Union County website about park and restoration, the plan of any county park system is supposed to benefit the whole population. And I really am disturbed by this whole project, for the lack of information with the residents. No one has been able to answer until tonight, and only because we're here present. I've contacted the Freeholder office several times. I've sent emails. I've sent inquiries about what is actually going on, and until tonight, I was never even
given the courtesy of a reply to my questions, to whether this was even true or not. So now that we know that it's true and it's out there, I'd like to know if the freeholders are aware of a recent report on NBC last night stating the link between cancer and turf fields over long-term use. I would hope that before anything is decided on and what you're going to install, those things are at least covered, how it's going to affect the habitat of the park, how it's going to affect the flooding and runoff near the park. You talked about Veterans Field with Irene. Well, I can tell you that the bridge on Valley Road during Irene was completely covered in water. You could not pass on Valley Road for several days. And that is all due to flooding that came from north and came down and then went into Rawway. So that same water that flooded Veterans Field flooded the park. So I would like to know that before anything is done, or, you know, are you investigating all these different impacts that this type of project and size will have? And are you also saying if the park can accommodate 400 vehicles currently, does that mean that that is all that the parking is going to be for this field when it is installed? Or are you planning on using park land to create additional parking? I think that is a very big concern for the residents who use the park. And it's more than just Clark. It's Rawway, it's Linden, it's Cranford. You know, you live a mile away, I live 10 feet away. So I really feel that this is an important issue, that more information needs to be given to the public. Thank you.
Hello again, Pat Moschetti, New Providence. On the topic of this park, Freeholder Hudak mentioned Summit. That's in the middle of the Watchung Reservation. There's no people living very far from there. There's only animals and deer and things like that over there. And the Snyder Field in Berkeley Heights is relatively far away from residents. Okay, so you bring those up as examples, but they're not, as this lady is saying, 10 feet away. I'd also like to congratulate someone who shed light on this whole issue of the corrections situation. Because if it wasn't for that individual, one, it wouldn't be in the newspapers. Two, we wouldn't be talking about it. And three, we wouldn't have representation of those folks right here. So that individual needs to be applauded for what she has done to try to open up activity in this county. My topics, the topic in general is workforce initiatives. At a recent Freeholder meeting that I attended, I had to pose some questions about it, and it was a state-created term called activities was used as a measure of getting things accomplished. That might be a great word in the world of state government activities. I still would like to know, in all the workforce initiatives in Union County, how many people are currently getting trained, how many are on-the-job training through some companies, how many are going back to school, and out of this population, how many have obtained a part-time job or a full-time job? I don't need activities. I need to have real numbers. These are real people. And if you could cut through the bureaucracy and the maze of state terminology, you would help us all. Thank you. My next question. What is Union County doing to lower the percent of Union County households that have single parents with children? This demographic, along with low levels of education and lack of work hours, are major factors leading to below than average income or living in poverty and possibly higher levels of crime. This is the crux of the matter. So what is Union County doing with this? As the population grows, we have more and more single parents with children, and statistics show that that is not a good thing for the community, whether it's local, state, or government, or federal. My last question. What oversight are the freeholders using to ensure better graduation rates occur at the Union County College, given the huge amounts of money you give Union County year after year. About a year ago, one of your freeholders said, "We do not micromanage Union County College." I cringed when I heard that. Because that generally says, we don't micromanage, you probably don't macromanage either. We give them over $10 million a year. Telecommunications is $1 million, and you have people looking into it. If we're giving $10 million plus every year to Union County, who is oversighting it? How can we get the graduation rates higher so those individuals who go to Union County College can be productive taxpayers of this county? Thank you.
Ken Burkert, delegate for Local 199. For clarification purposes, the union has been involved, first and foremost, with negotiations with the county and union. As a matter of fact, we were in a mediation session. That would be President Kretsch, myself, and Vice President Ross. We had our first mediation session, and we were waiting for the second one. And we spoke to Frank Guzzo, and that's when we were actually informed that possibly there was going to be movement with our prisoners to Hudson County. That's when we came to the membership and informed them of such. So our membership was well informed of what was going on inside the confines of the jail. If anyone went outside the box and decided to speak to somebody, it wasn't the PBA. And I stand here today because I believe in democracy. I believe that this board will look closely at what may happen, and we're waiting patiently on any numbers that may come in front of us to try to protect the members of our membership. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening, Chairman and fellow freeholders. My name is George Caslins. I'm from Rawway. I'd like to speak on behalf of the park and the improvements to it. I live right across the street from the park, and I am a frequent user of the park. I take my godson there to teach him soccer as he had the World Cup fever this summer. And when I first heard about the improvements to the park, when I went to Mayor Steinman's annual address in the beginning of the year, I was very excited to hear that the park's going to be improved because, as the chairman said, it does really need some improvements. And it is my understanding that the park, the new improvements are going to be built on the same footprint as where the current field is. So I just wanted to really thank you, freeholders, for helping us improve that. And I will make sure that it does, as you said, it is being used quite often. I use it quite often, and I will continue to use the park. So I really wanted to say thank you, and that we appreciate it, me and my godson and all of us who will make good use of it. So thank you.
Good evening. My name is Lori Sexton. I'm from Rawway, and I'm speaking also regarding the park issue.
Ma'am, can you just speak into the microphone, please? I'm sorry.
Okay, my name is Lori Sexton, a resident of Rawway. I'm speaking on behalf with the park issue that was recently brought. I use the park often, just about every day for walking, and recently found out and confirmed it by asking the workers that we see every day. Just said, you want to say something about it, come up to Elizabeth and address it. Not only had NBC talked about the cancer with the lighted turfs that's there, this is also going to be a tax issue with residents of Rawway. The park is also historical. We're giving $2 million for that, and you just improved and put a stadium in Warnaco Park, which is not even 3 miles from there, which is $4 million. So fixing some of the fields that's there, or maybe improving some of that, but to put it says on the website, 5,000 seat stadium and everything else that goes along with it. So between the traffic, possibly park tax implications, pollution, and the quality of life that goes along with that, that's a problem, or at least from the people that are there. We have another stadium that's $4 million that you're finishing up in Warnaco Park. A stadium was in Warnaco Park that you tore down and you fixed up. So they could balance that if you have to go up there to play. Improving the grounds, making the baseball field a little bit better, what's there. There's other things that could be done with that $2 million, or that said an aerator in the pond. Right now the water is all green because if the water doesn't move, it needs to be dredged. That goes along with that. And it's truly amazing that when the workers that were there when times were bad from 08 or 2010, they laid off a lot of people and when you talk to the workers that you actually see if you're running every day, to say their union rep, the older people that had been there for a longer time were willing to take a day so they could keep the younger people there and keep their jobs. And they were like, the union rep was like, no, the union president. So now we have a significant amount of money. I think that we should use it more wisely, especially in the terms of this economy. Fixing something and improving what's there and not adding on to it, to have a 5,000 seat stadium, which is what's advertised on the website, that's an issue. We don't have enough spots now if you have for the 4th of July. If you're not in the park by a certain time, the Rahway police block it off so you can't get into the park. So there's a parking issue, and among other things. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Tom Lewis. I live in Clark. I'm also the athletic director at Rahway High School for the Rahway Schools, and I'm also the Union County Interscholastic Director for the 25 schools in Union County High Schools. I first want to say, I want to thank the freeholders and Mr. Fiala for the things that they are doing currently in the city of Rahway with the Madison School project, as well as the Madison Field, which is across from Rahway Robert Wood Hospital and the middle school. Rahway is the only, and I shouldn't say that because I believe Hillside as well, does not have a turf field because most of our athletic fields are in flood zones. We have an enormous problem in the city of Rahway with that. But I do believe the concern in the 3rd Ward of Clark is a legitimate concern. I think both mayors should work slowly and diligently putting this project together, that no one or anything is impeded to hurt. But as far as the student athletes, this is a dire need for the city of Rahway to improve the Madison fields. That, I mean, Mr. Fiala has received some of my phone calls to help and just minor concerns that we have had. That when you see the student body, 25 schools coming in to play on those fields, it's pretty pathetic. As far as going back to the park project, I do believe there is concerns, and I think they have to work through them. I think both mayors and both councils should work, like I said, slowly and diligently. But it should never impede the sentiment of all the things that the freeholders are doing and taking in concern of a city that is in need for our so-called students. And I say this because we played Brearley today. We have Scotch Plains, different teams, Westfield. It's not fair for anyone to play on these facilities. I mean, you're talking about student athletes that are coming in. And I do know that the big concern is the traffic. You know, I heard 5,000. I think that's a bit much. You know, I know it was on a website, so I didn't know that until a week ago. I certainly talked to Mayor Bonacorso. I have talked to Mayor Steinman. They have to work together. The councils have to work together. The residents of Clark are very concerned. The park is a facility that they're talking about. I just want to say, you know, I thank everybody, and I do hope that we do it in a due process where we walk away, we're all satisfied, that we don't have people standing, running around, condemning it, because it's about student athletes. It's about schools that all share each other's fields. And everyone here lives in a town, and most of it's Union County, and you people understand that you could look at Williams Field and Elizabeth. You can go to Plainfield, and these are beautiful facilities. I mean, so to me, I just think we're looking for equity, we're looking for fairness, and we want everyone on the side of Clark and Rahway to be fair and balanced. And I do understand the 3rd Ward concerns in Clark, I do. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody understands the plight of these projects, and I'm excited about. If you go to Madison School on Madison Avenue, and you see the project, how it's developing, it's beautiful. It's going from an eyesore to beautification. And to me, that's part of what the freeholders have done for that particular school. When you see those kids come out, and in 2 months, I believe the project will be completed. I'm concerned about that, but I do have those concerns from both sides, and I just want to have fairness and be happy. And I'm going to conclude by thanking the freeholders at looking at those situations and try to make it better for all of us. Thank you.
Good evening, freeholders, Chairman Hudak. My name is Peter Coel. I live in Rahway, New Jersey. I'm the president of the Rahway Board of Education. I'm here tonight to commend you people for putting together this project at Rahway. I really believe this isn't a political issue. This is about our kids. Our kids play on Veterans Memorial Field. It's one of the oldest fields in Union County. It's one of only 2 dirt fields in Union County. We play on a federal floodplain. This past year, last year, we played 3 of our home games in Clark, our neighbors, through Sal Bonacorso, Tom Lewis. We were able to move the games because of the conditions of our field. One Friday afternoon, we had 2.5 foot of water on the field. That puts mud on the field. That puts mold on the field. Our kids shouldn't have to play in those conditions. I think this is a great project you guys are putting through. I'm 100% behind it. The city of Rahway is excited for it. The athletes are excited for it, and I hope that you can, put together a joint meeting with the boards of education, maybe the city councils. Mayor Bonacorso is not here today to tell you that the field isn't in the best interest of Clark. There's a small group. There's always going to be a group that's going to say no to something's good. You're seeing it in your entire meeting. I just hope that this doesn't slow you people down. Let's go forward. Let's give the Rahway kids what the Rahway kids deserve. Just like the Cranford kids have a lit field, Clark has a lit field, Linden has a lit field, Plainfield has a lit field. It's time now for us to move forward. If anything, we're really past the time. So I want to commend you in spending our Rahway County tax dollars on our kids. And that's something that's, I'm 27 years on the Rahway Board of Education. And I really think it's time now for you to spend money on our kids. Give us a field so we don't have to go to our neighbors and play when we get a rainstorm. Thank you very much.
Good evening to Chairman Hudak, to Vice Chairman Holly. I rise in support of our multi-purpose facility here at Rahway Park for the need of our children. They need a world-class facility. They need to be made to feel like they are part of the care and concern of the city. And this project here, I think, would be a great benefit to all of Rahway, to all of Union County, all those who use the facility. It's well past the time. It's well documented how our field is in Rahway, and this would be a great event for the community. When this was announced, it was a great environment. It was a feeling that people were responding to the need of our children, and you can see that when our children have too much time, usually ends up in trouble. When you have a world-class facility, you have a better opportunity to make the best so they can reach their potential and can become much better productive men and women in our society. Thank you very much for your time.
Chairman, I'm sorry. Excuse me, Chairman.
Yes.
I just did not get the name of the individual.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. You have to say your name and
Guy Ewings. Yes, sir, from Rahway.
Hi, good evening. Margaret Shannon, Clark, New Jersey, Third World Ward. Grown up in the park, wheeled there as a baby, hope to wheel my grandchildren there someday. I think there's, just so that you know, that I brought along what the Rahway mayor advertised in his spring newsletter, and I can give you a copy if you need one. But it says, the field at Rahway River Park to include turf, an 8-lane track, lights, areas for field events, bleachers for spectators, a press box, 2 team pavilions, a concession stand with bathrooms and fencing. So it isn't just a field, it's a whole, organization here. I know that Rahway needs it. I know that, everybody, but you're saying Cranford and all these other towns, everybody has it in their own town, not in a county park. And I think that's what the problem is with a lot of the way this was handled, that we know somewhere down the line, there's going to be increase in taxes, and we're going to end up paying for it somehow. And nobody had a voice in it as far as we're concerned. And I think that there's a lot of distrust with politicians and the way it felt, everybody felt like it was just kind of put under the rug and just all of a sudden blossomed. And how come we only heard about it 3 weeks ago? You know, I mean, don't you think something as a big project like this would be out there and there'd be dollars, you know, there'd be budgets showing what's going to happen? Because it says through partnerships with Union County Board, excuse me, Board of Chosen Freeholders and Rowway School Board of Education, the city of Rowway will begin upgrading and improving. Somehow along the way, we're going to pay for it. And I've been told there might be a traffic light on Valley Road. There's going to be a lot of traffic. And what happens to all the church groups and all the other people that want to enjoy it as a public, because it is a county park? Is it going to just be, you know, is the Rowway school athletics going to have priority over the rest of the citizens in the county? So, you know, there's a lot of unanswered questions. And the main thing, I just want to keep my eye on this. I just want to know, is there going to be an accounting of this that the public can see what dollars are being spent on it? Because you're saying, I think, $2 million. It's going to cost more than $2 million, and we know that. So how do you find out what dollars are being spent on projects like this? Is there a website that you have that we could keep tabs on things? Could you tell me what it is?
Are you done with your remarks, ma'am?
Yes.
Well, okay, just have a seat and we can
Okay.
address some of them. Just in terms of the plan, and again, and I say this respectfully to Mayor Steinman, we've had preliminary conversations about the Rowway Board of Education's participation and the city's participation. And again, that's why we signed a memorandum of understanding and we're going through the planning phase. So, I mean, in terms of, you know, I'm sure they have a vision of what they want to do, but ultimately it is the county's park. And so it will be, you know, in terms of the final product will be, you know, a joint decision. Now, in terms of the funding, the project was announced last January as part of the Freeholder Initiative address, and it is included within our capital budget. So all of that information is public. In terms of the final cost, that's why we're engaging engineers and architecture at this point. Ma'am, those are publicly, ma'am, we don't, those are all of our information is subject to Oprah, and our meetings are all publicly announced. Any other members of the public wishing to speak?
Good evening, Chairman Hudak, ladies and gentlemen of the Freeholder Board, Bruce Patterson Garwood. I mean, I've been coming here for years. I mean, you know, this meeting is a very important meeting because it really does reinforce what we are. We're just mushrooms, and we're kept in the dark and just fed BS. You said a lot of words, but into the Third Ward Councilwoman's ear, and more or less it was just saying, the heck with you, we're going to go ahead and do whatever we do. The PBA is here pleading for their jobs. You know, somebody said that, oh, it was in remediation, and all of a sudden you threw this out that you're probably going to be moving prisoners to Hudson County. I mean, the people are just kept out of the loop. And in fact, the employees are kept out of the loop at the same time. And the problem here, and I've brought this up before, it's that you guys aren't making the decision. It's political bosses. It's the political bosses in control, not the elected officials. Lesniak must be pulling strings somewhere. That's the only thing I can come up with. And coming to all these years, it's got to be Lesniak. He says a park goes in Rowway Park, a field goes there, a field's going to go there for Rowway and I guess for Union County citizens. But, you know, and to Clark, I mean, don't forget there's the other side of Clark, that other Union County college may be going there. Yeah, Oak Ridge. So you're going to have parks at both ends. A lot of people, God forbid if a game comes out, lets out at the same time. But it's the public is just left out of the loop. Again, Pat Moschetti brings up Tina Renna, that somehow somebody must have whispered in her ear that there was this ongoing, you know, possible conversion of or closing of the county jail. And so now it's out in the public. The PBA is out in force, which actually does bring up another question. It seemed like 2 years ago this might have been in the works about transferring prisoners to Hudson County. So now I bring up a question. I'm here all the time. Director Riordan, God bless him, he's a good guy. He's been spending millions of dollars in multi-phase construction at the county, painting, switching cells or whatever he calls them, fixing up a kitchen, Multi-million dollars. Why the heck are we doing that if all along you're planning to move prisoners to Essex County? This makes no sense. And you know what it boils down to? And no reflection on Director Riordan, because he's doing a great job and he's doing what he's told. There's just incompetence. Incompetence and failure of communication to the public, and incompetence of you guys, because the political bosses are pulling the strings, not the freeholders. It's the political bosses. And it goes back to the exact same thing I've been saying all along, that nobody has experience that's stuck in the positions. Your job at Kane College, Chairman Hudak, no experience. I talked about Mayor Marr last time, having no experience, but somehow being the county political boss. She gets this job as division head at the county all of a sudden at the beginning of this year. Freeholder Kowalski saying, well, I mean, she deserves a job because she was involved in one-seat ride to New York. Yeah, that's really great experience for her being a division head that has nothing to do with one-seat ride. And I guess just through you, I would like Freeholder Kowalski to explain what her experience is to get that seat as a Freeholder board, because she has no experience. She had no experience coming up. All she was stuck on the ballot and voted in by more or less one town, Elizabeth. I mean, you know, we all know that. And so it doesn't make a difference whether you have experience or not. You're just stuck here. The political bosses are pulling strings. The people are mushrooms. The employees are left out in the cold pleading for their jobs. We went through the runnels. Now we're looking at the jail. I mean, and God bless them. I'll tell you, they do a hell of a job. I mean, we're talking criminals here. That is the purpose of the county. Tina Renner brought that up last time. That is one of the true purposes of the county. You should maintain the jails. Stick to the true purpose of what county government actually is. You just spend money like crazy. You gave $200,000 to that guy who had to quit McGreevy's administration because he was trading stocks with inside information, fined $750,000. Beginning of this year, you gave him $200,000. That could have gone to the Code Blue with the 80 days of frigid winter probably coming up again this year. I mean, you should take care of the people, not your cronies, not your friends, not your relatives, not your political boss, not your donors.
Have a seat.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to comment?
Tina Rana, Cranford. I have two questions regarding the Union County Alliance. We give them approximately $270,000 a year, thereabouts. Part of their contract is they're supposed to produce newsletters for you. They're supposed to be doing 4, which are mailed to every home in Union County, and they're also supposed to be putting several more online. And they haven't been being put online. They don't have a website. So if we're paying them to do this and they're not doing this, I'd like an update on that contract. Who's monitoring that, and are we going to get a refund for it? Sticking to that, this is your spring edition, which came out right before Election Day. And there is Chairman Hudak, who is up for election. Very happy stuff all throughout the newsletter. And it's interesting because this was brought up. It was brought to my attention anyway. I was glad I came across this article. The Bergen County administrator pulled a similar newsletter because it came to her attention that it might be against ELEC rules. And the election firm, the chairman of ELEC did weigh in on it, and he gave this as a hypothetical case of a mayor. Take the case where a newsletter is distributed by the municipality to residents in the weeks prior to primary or general election, but contains no direct appeal for a vote. The newsletter, however, touts the goals and achievements of the mayor and has been consented to by the mayor. Are these ramifications to this course of action involving the Campaign Act? The simple answer is yes. So I will be writing De Philippis. What I wanted to ask you tonight, for some reason I don't think I ever brought this to his attention, even though every time you do this I bring it and I talk about it. This costs $100,000 a year to mail. You do it twice, right before the general and primary elections. It's always featuring whoever's up for election, and it does fit the criteria here. So I believe you've been doing this for about 10 years, so we're talking $1 million. So if somehow the taxpayers can get paid back by your campaigns for that, That would be great. My second question is, has your county council ever weighed in on whether he thought this was against the rules? Because the Bergen County Council did, and he advised that it was against the rules and that it should stop. So I'm wondering if your council has ever weighed in on it, yay or nay. So I think you can answer that question. And because this is going to be coming out again right before the election. And again, I will be writing to ELEC. And don't answer me, I'll just put that in the letter instead of whatever answer you want to give me. I hope everyone here is paying attention tonight to what was discussed. I've brought this up many times in the past. There's only certain things that we need county government for. You're supposed to do all that unhappy stuff that nobody can make a business out of, nobody can make money out of it. Certainly one of those things is running a jail. It's a basic public safety issue. And tonight we spoke about how you're financing a golf course, a banquet hall. You're building world-class facilities around the county. I'm not saying I'm against them, but this is the stuff that you want to be involved in, all the happy stuff, when you're supposed to be doing the stuff that we need you to do, the things that the public needs you to do is like running a jail, running a courthouse. So you got rid of the hospital. Now you're trying to cut corners at the jail. And I just hope people are paying attention to really the business of Union County. It's just, nothing happens in a vacuum here. You do have a lot of money and you have the ability to raise taxes, but there is a finite amount. So this is your leadership decision, to do happy stuff, to run banquet halls instead of jails. I'd like my questions answered about the alliance. Those are 2 questions. Do you need me to repeat them? Has your county council ever advised whether it was against ELEC? And who is paying attention to the alliance contract? And if they're not meeting the obligations, are you going to ask for a refund?
Any other members of the public wishing to speak?
Yeah, John Burry of Kenilworth. And just some brief musings, a couple of phrases. I kind of stood up when I heard them. Open government and very preliminary. Around January, February of 2009, closing Oak Ridge Golf Course was very preliminary, or worse to that effect. And a couple of days later, there were bulldozers doing the sand traps. I'm all for open government. I don't think backroom deals work. And I disagree strongly with the PBA 199 coming here trying to get you back talking there. I think they should make their case here. This doesn't work. You could look at the closing of Runnels. When did people find out about that? What about putting up solar panels that was originally supposed to be $45 million and it turned out to be $15 million and the bonds went bust? There's a lot to be gained from people, the taxpayers particularly, coming out here and having their say. I never saw the mayor of Rahway here, like a year ago, whatever, asking for a field. I think he was here at the last meeting thanking you for building the field. But he didn't come, present his case, and give the people of Clark time to rebut or make their points. You could say it's very preliminary, but these very preliminary things get done. There was one thing, I remember the dog park. We were going to build that. And then Freeholder Scanlon, a lot of people came over saying we don't need it. Freeholder Scanlon said, well, we're not going to build it. And then 2 months later, you built it. This isn't how open government's supposed to work. And I'd welcome anybody from the PBA 199 to come up here and make their point. They seem to be intimating that this is a done deal. And now they're just bargaining to see, I don't know, severance pay, things like that. But I would truly want to know why Union County Jail should not be closed, as without that, it's probably going to happen. That was it. Thanks.
Any other members of the public wishing to speak? Excuse me, ma'am. You've already had your 5 minutes, ma'am. Oh, sorry. Okay. Any other members of the public wishing to speak? I'm going to close that portion of the meeting, and we will do the freeholder reports, and I will start with Freeholder Kowalski.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to thank the
Folks, please, if you could just keep it down, thank you.
We had a development with the Raritan Valley Rail this week. The New Jersey Transit had announced that we were likely to be able to expand the one-seat service starting in November. However, they have told us this week that that doesn't seem likely to happen because of funding problems for them. We are committed to working with New Jersey Transit to overcome this, what we hope is a temporary setback, and restore the funding to keep moving forward. The cost of expanding one-seat rides is not high considering the size of the New Jersey Transit budget, and the payback is enormous in terms of economic development, improved property values, and the productivity of our commuting workforce. So we will keep working on that, and we'll keep you posted. Today, I attended the dedication ceremony for the Reverend Russell C. Block Affordable Housing Building in Elizabeth. This is a project that created 6 units of safe, decent housing in the Elizabeth Port section for low-income households, including accessible units for persons with disabilities. And there were a lot of partners who participated in bringing this about, including the City of Elizabeth, the housing advocacy organization Brand New Day, and McGill Real Estate Holdings. Public funding included a grant from the state's Neighborhood Stabilization Program, as well as $300,000 in Home Investment Partnership Program funds through the Freeholder Board. So I'd like to thank all of the partners who contributed, and I'd also like to recognize Reverend Russell C. Block and all of his family, and Reverend Garlick. Their long history of advocacy for affordable housing is an inspiration, and we are very proud to have been a part of this. There was a mention of what the county government should or should not be doing. Sometimes we only do happy stuff. Well, on this agenda, I'd like to point out that there are some items that cover people in need. This is not just happy stories, although some of them will end up making people a lot happier than they might have been. We have the reentry demonstration program with the help of the Urban League of Union County and Mental Health Services with Trinitas Hospital. Under the reentry demonstration program, we have the Code Blue program, which was a Union County initiative, I believe under Freeholder Estrada when he was chairman. So that has made a big difference for people who otherwise would be out in the cold and suffering a great deal. So, thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Freeholder Kowalski. Freeholder Carter.
Thank you, Chairman. If you own a business or even manage a business here in Union County, I would like to let you know about 2 networking opportunities that are coming up. I'm going to start with the one that is actually towards the end of October, October 29th at the Clubhouse at Galloping Hill. Our Workforce Investment Board will host a business-to-business networking event. It's a great chance for you to meet and network with Union County's business leaders and really to get a lot of information to help your business, to manage your business, and really to flourish and be sustainable here in Union County. There is one that's coming up a week or so before on October the 21st, and that is the latest installment of our Union County Means Business Networking Series, and it will take place at the Hamilton Stage in Rahway. The topic there is e-commerce, and we will be joined by 3 special guests, Senator Cory Booker, Christina Hahn from Google, and Stan Robinson, who is the CEO of his company, SHR Marketing. They'll be conducting a roundtable discussion moderated by Tara Dowdle, founder and principal of the Tara Dowdle Group. And one of the things that this board has been committed to for the last couple of years, and I'm glad that Chairman Hudak has continued it this year, is really making sure that we're bringing the right resources here to the county and making sure that we're partnering with those projects and partnering with our businesses that we need to help strengthen our businesses, to help strengthen and empowering a lot of our residents to really be able to manage and really make their business flourish. So I thank you and commend you on that, Freeholder Chairman. If you like additional information in reference to these two events, the business-to-business event, which is October the 29th at the clubhouse at Galloping Hill, or the Union County Means Business event, which is October 21st at the Hamilton Stage in Rawway, please visit us at our website, www.ucnj.org, and you can navigate your way through to the Union County Means Business portal that is on our website, or you can call 908-527-4802. You can register online, you can get additional information, but it truly, if you have a business or if you manage a business or even if you're thinking of trying to get into business, please take advantage of these opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you, Freeholder Carter. Freeholder Estrada?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to take this opportunity to speak about 4 Centuries in the Weekend, coming up on Saturday and Sunday, October the 18th and 19th. It's another edition of our annual 4 Centuries in a Weekend county-wide history tour. This year, 4 Centuries has a special meaning because it's marking the 350th anniversary of New Jersey, starting from its formal establishment as a colony in 1664. Shortly after, Elizabeth was founded on this original name of Elizabethtown.
Bless
you. As a longtime resident of Elizabeth, I hope you can get a chance to retrace our proud history with Union County residents. That's very important because as we are recipients of Green Acre funds, it really means, and it has to be open to all of our residents. And that's something that's very important, whether in Rahway, whether in Clark, whether in Berkeley Heights. That's something that's shared by all of our residents. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Freeholder Estrada. Freeholder Mirabella?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This Freeholder Board invites the public to our 6th annual Columbus Day flag raising event tomorrow, right outside in the steps of the historic Union County Courthouse. That's October 10th at 1 o'clock tomorrow. The keynote speaker and guest of honor will be Congressman Frank Pallone, who has represented Central Jersey in Congress since 1988. We're delighted that the congressman could make time out of his schedule to be with us here. We're also here from officials with UNICO, the nation's largest Italian-American service organization. Of course, the public's then invited for Italian-style refreshments after the program in the courthouse. For more information, please visit our website, ucnj.org. There's several other Columbus Day events around Union County that I'd like to just make some note of. Clark Unico is hosting their annual feast by the Clark Municipal Building, and I hope people will take time to visit that event. It's always well attended and a great time. I'd also like to note Mike Gorino, who is the president of the Columbus Parade Association, has his annual event on Sunday honoring Columbus and Columbus Day activities. I'd also like to take a moment to thank everyone who was a part of the POW MIA ceremony several weeks ago. It was well attended by the veterans community. I particularly want to thank Freeholder Granas for jumping in and filling in for me as the MC of the event. I know he did a terrific job, and I appreciate Freeholder taking the time, and the other Freeholders for being there that day. With that, Mr. Chairman, I'll conclude my remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Freeholder. Well said. Freeholder Bergen?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to thank Freeholder Estrada for his comments on the fields, and I joined with him and greatly appreciate him making that statement. I also want to remind the public that if they're planning to travel this winter, that you have to worry about whether your passport is up to date. It takes about 6 weeks now for a regular passport application to be processed, and even if you expedite it, it takes about 3 weeks. If you have a passport, check it for the expiration date, because if you travel within 6 months of the expiration date, you may need to have it renewed before you go. Our Union County Clerk, Joanne Rajapi, has 2 locations for passport applications, both here in the courthouse in Elizabeth and at the offices in Westfield. If you have any questions, you can call that office at 908-527-4787 or go to the website ucnj.org/passports. That's ucnj.org/passports. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Nothing else tonight.
Thank you, Freeholder Bergen. Freeholder Granados?
Yes, it's a great pleasure to partake with 2 events with local individuals, Acting Sheriff Joe Cryan and Mayor Jamel Holly. We held a Virgos for a Cause event in which we held our birthdays to raise funds for cancer patients in Union County, in raising over $10,000 within 2 hours, which was definitely a great event. And all goes to Union County cancer patients, which is always definitely great to give back. Also, we attended a walk in Worn Ankle Park, hosted by Roselle 24/7, in which there was over 200 participants coming together to give back to the community, raising funds. September is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we also have Andrea from the Office of Public Health here. And anybody, when you're walking out, definitely make sure you visit her table. She has awareness information, some sort of giveaways, pins, to make sure you represent breast cancer this month, okay? Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Freeholder. Freeholder Wright?
Thank you. It was my pleasure to attend the recent opening of the Raymond Lesniak Experience, Strength, and Hope Recovery High School in Union Township. Having spent many years living and working in the Union School District, I want to say that it is an honor for Union Township to host this institution. This is the first high school of its kind in New Jersey. I would also like to point out that it is the newest addition to the award-winning Union County Votech School District, which has its main campus in Scotch Plains. This new school sends a clear signal that we in Union County value each and every one of our young people, and we will do our best to help those in trouble find a more stable place in life and a brighter future. On behalf of the Freeholder Board, we are proud to welcome Recovery High School to our Votech academic community. Thank you.
Thank you, Freeholder Wright. Freeholder, County Council, any comments?
I do, Mr. Chairman, just on one item, which was reference to the President of the PBA's comments relative to the Oprah request. There might be a slight breakdown of communication between that gentleman and their counsel. We did receive an Oprah request. I believe it was the week before last. We immediately responded to that request by producing documents that were immediately available. We also, because of the volume of materials that were requested and the time frame involved, asked for an extension of time. That was agreed to by their counsel, and the due date now is by next week. At no time did we say no documents existed.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
County Manager?
No comments, Mr. Chairman.
Vice Chair?
Yes, Chairman. I wish the residents who spoke on Clark were stayed for the remainder of the meeting, because I really wanted to thank them for coming out and voicing their concerns about the project, the field in Rawway. Although there were inaccurate statements made, I think we need to make sure that we do a good job keeping the residents of Clark, the council, informed, even though this was an initiative that was announced in January and there has been information. I think some of the issue is that some of the details that they seek have not yet been decided by the board. And so that's something that, that I would like for them to understand, and that we will be deciding that at some point in the future. And it was, of course, beneficial for them to come and give us their perspective. As to the employees from the union who came out today, I thank them as well for their comments. Again, certain things that were inaccurate. There was a comment made that if the Freeholder Board was aware that we were going to take this action 2 years ago, and then we were, and then the second part of that was, and we spent however much money on renovations or repairs or upgrades or what have you, then therefore the Freeholder Board is irresponsible or incompetent or what have you. And my response to that is that's an if, that's a big if we knew about it 2 years ago. I for one, did not consider this 2 years ago. This is something that has come up, and something that if there's an opportunity to save taxpayers' dollars, to achieve the balancing test of doing what we have to do with regard to our obligation, an obligation that we can't simply get rid of. I mean, we can't get rid of our obligation to house inmates fully, but if we can achieve that balance of doing that along with doing what's fiscally prudent, and if there's money to be saved, then we should certainly consider it. And I think that's the stage we're at now. I mean, I haven't seen any numbers or anything of that nature at this point, only a suggestion that we look into it. And so, but I understand, you know, the reaction to respond immediately, and I certainly don't fault anyone for doing that. Just that, as I sit, I know I have not made any decision whatsoever at this point. I'll speak also, I know there were comments made as to the Freeholder Board's commitment to higher education. Certainly, that's one of our top priorities. And this can be seen in our Union County College, one of the premier county colleges in the state of New Jersey. UCC provides affordable education for our residents at a time, particularly now, when it's most needed. So earlier today, myself and the other freeholders attended a kickoff celebration for a project to expand and modernize Nomahegan Hall at the UCC main campus in Cranford. The renovations will enable the UCC to provide students with up-to-date services to help them achieve their academic and career goals. That includes registration, counseling, disability services, financial aid, study kiosks, meeting spaces, and classrooms. I'd like to also thank the Union County Improvement Authority for providing the funding mechanism to support this project, and the UCIA for bringing this much-needed improvement to fruition as well. Also, there was talk about the Recovery High School. Many of us were there to see that. Keeping that in mind, I'd like to remind the residents of the annual Union County Red Ribbon event, which is coming up on October 18th at Nomahegan Park in Cranford. The event is sponsored in partnership with Prevention Links, which has been a driving force behind establishment of the school. As you may know, Red Ribbon is a family-friendly, positive event that helps you to talk to your children about making healthy choices as a way of encouraging openness and communication as they grow. It starts at 10 a.m. and goes until about 2 p.m., along with a fundraising walk that is a full slate of free children's activities. This year's walk is especially important because proceeds will go to the Recovery High School. To sign up for the walk, and if you need more information, you can look it up on the Prevention Links webpage, preventionlinks.org, or call them at 732-381-4100. Thank you, Chairman, that's all.
Thank you, Vice Chair. A couple of comments before we move to an executive session. First, I'm very proud to note that we held our first Union County Mayor's Roundtable program at the Clubhouse Galvin Hill on September 29th. I'm very glad to report there was a successful turnout. The majority of our 21 mayors, or they sent a representative to attend. And it's the first of a planned series of roundtable meetings. The goal is to help local governments connect more closely with the county and state resources in support of economic development. At this meeting, we provided a briefing on the county economic development and infrastructure projects. We also brought state officials in to describe some programs and resources that are available through their agencies. We're planning another meeting to be held next year. We're very fortunate to have some good news of recent economic trends and examples of wage growth, and the Freeholder Board is determined to see continued improvement by forging stronger lines of communication with our mayors. And I'd like to thank everyone who attended, and it was a very worthwhile evening, as you know, many of the mayors, I think, were enlightened by some of the programs that they can take part in through the state, and as well as some of the resources they have at the county level to take advantage of that they might not have thought of before. So kudos to the Department of Economic Development. It's something we want to continue. Some counties do have these meetings with the mayors, and it's something we definitely want to continue to have good lines of communications with the mayors in our communities, let them know what's going on in county government. Secondly, very proud to announce that on Saturday, October 25th, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Union County will once again partner with various public safety agencies for a gun buyback and amnesty program. If you have an unused and unwanted gun, bring it in and you can be eligible to receive up to $250 in cash. You also have the satisfaction of getting a lethal weapon out of your home, business, out of circulation, and permanently out of the hands of those who might use it for wrong intentions. You can bring up to 3 firearms with no questions asked. The locations are the Linden at the Morning Star Community Center at 1009 Chandler Avenue, and in Plainfield at the Visions of God Family Worship Church at 350 Leland Avenue. And this was a project that Chairman Carter last year kicked off, and I was very proud to include that as we took some other steps in terms of gun safety in Union County, announced that we would only be doing business with responsible gun vendors, and this is just a continued confirmation of that effort to make sure that guns are safe, or guns that are gun safety is important in Union County, and we're committed to getting weapons off the streets. Just some wrapping comments. Great comments for Freeholder Kowalski on the one-seat ride. It's very disappointing news this week, but I know you and the rest of the members of the Raritan Valley Coalition are really pressing our case for the need for this service to our residents. It's very vital to Union County. And just to wrap up on the comments of Rawway River Park and parks in general, we're of course going to be communicating with the municipalities, and we'll be getting everyone together to discuss issues. And we of course want to hear from resident concerns. And I'm just thinking back to when we did the renovation at Wheeler, and we had several meetings with residents because they don't live miles away from the fields in Wheeler. They live about 40 feet. So we made sure we sat down and talked to them about what their concerns were, and we tried our best to alleviate them and to explain what the actual circumstances would be, and I think they'll be very satisfied now with the outcome. We're very committed to these facilities, and talking about the jail tonight, not wanting to do happy stuff. Part of the role of county government, at least as far as I see it, is to make sure that facilities are available for all members of the public, whether or not they can afford them. Personally, you shouldn't have to be wealthy to go to a fine athletic field, have to pay for, expensive green fees at a golf course, or go to a nice clubhouse. You shouldn't have to be a member of a country club. The members of the public of Union County deserve great facilities and the ability to utilize them. And so we're committed to continuing to do that, as well as all of the other responsibilities we have in county government. So we look forward to continuing moving forward in Rawway and on other projects as well. And with that, I will turn the meeting over to our county counsel, because I believe he has a statement to read.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, public body may enter into executive session for the purpose of discussing certain enumerated subjects. This board now wishes to enter into executive session for the purpose of discussing attorney-client privilege communication and potential additional contract negotiations with Center Management Group LLC relative to Reynolds Specialized Hospital. And 2, attorney-client privilege communication relative to ongoing litigation in the matter of Wapola versus Union County et al. The minutes of the executive session shall be separated from the minutes of the open public session. The minutes of the executive session, redacted as appropriate and necessary, shall be available in approximately 30 days. Clerk to the board shall retain the original minutes until such time as the confidential limitations have been removed, at which time they shall be made available. Upon the affirmative vote of the majority of the members present, the board may retire to executive session. Upon the board's return, it will not take any formal action on the matters discussed.
Motion to go into executive session?
Seconded.
Moved by Freeholder Mirabella, seconded by the Vice Chair. Roll call, please.
Freeholder Bergen.
Yes.
Freeholder Carter.
Yes.
Freeholder Estrada. Freeholder Granados.
Yes.
Freeholder Kowalski.
Yes.
Freeholder Mirabella. Freeholder Wright.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Jallo.
Aye.
And Chairman Hudak.
Aye, we're in executive session. I could make so many jokes, but we were being- All right. Clerk of the board, you ready? Excellent. A motion to return from executive session.
So moved.
Motion was made by Freeholder Granados, way to get in there, Freeholder Granados, and seconded by Freeholder Wright. He was quick. Roll call.
Freeholder Bergen.
Yes.
Freeholder Carter.
Yes.
Freeholder Estrada.
Yes.
Freeholder Granados.
Aye.
Freeholder Kowalski.
Yes.
Freeholder Mirabella. Freeholder Wright. Vice Chairman Jallo.
Aye.
And Chairman Hudak.
Aye.
Fielder Chair, you had 9 votes in the affirmative.
Excellent. County Council, any statement relative to our executive session?
No comment, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, County Council. Freeholders, any more comments this evening?
I got mine.
Run away, Freeholder Granados, run away.
Motion.
All right, motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion was made by Freeholder Carter, seconded by Freeholder Mirabella. All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.